Hey folks, how are you doing today? Now, welcome to this webinar. Well, next hour, whatever you want to call it, which I'm going to be talking to you all about how to become a kick-ass guest, a standout guest, especially on podcasts. But some of these tips and hints will also help you in whichever kind of way you are being interviewed, so whichever medium you are, but mainly video and podcasting. Now, what we've got is we've got a little presentation, which you should see just there. If you can hear me, give me a little hello in the comments. That'd be fantastic. If you can, it'd be good to know the sounds are all working on your side. But basically, for the next half hour, we're going to be talking about how to be a standout guest on a podcast. I'm going to go through 5 different bits of my online course, and these are 5 segments which, to be fair, a lot of people miss out. So therefore, I've included it in this little package. And afterwards, then it's going to be another half hour or so, or as many questions as we can answer in that time. If there's no questions, it'll be quite quick. But there's going to be a Q&A afterwards. So you got a little bit of a presentation and then a Q&A. So I can see people are tuning in now. What would be really cool to know is what kind of level of podcasting guesting are you? Have you been a podcast guest on a couple of different podcasts? Are you brand new to being a guest on a podcast? All of this information is going to help me tailor this information to you today. So please, please, please let me know what your experiences are around podcast guesting. Now, I'd say we've got 5 different sections, and the 5 sections we're going to be talking about today are creating the perfect pitch. We're going to be talking about the power of preparation, the one-page success plan. We're going to be talking about how to deliver value and not a sales pitch. We're going to be talking about the art of storytelling. And then we're going to be telling you how you can spread the word. So how you should be sharing your podcast appearance. This is all focused on being a guest on a podcast. But to be fair, a lot of these can be used in other ways, as I said before. So let's kick off with crafting the perfect pitch. Why not? Let's start at that side of it. And the thing is, with a well-crafted pitch, a lot of people would ask me, first of all, how do I get onto podcasts? That's one of the main questions I get. And the easiest way to kind of get onto a podcast is as to be on a podcast. Now, every podcast is slightly different in terms of how the application process goes. But you need to be able to sell yourself to the host. And a well-crafted pitch is your ticket to securing a great podcast experience. Sending a generic request, whether that's just a message to them saying, can I be on your show, or a crafted email or a video, a standard request just won't cut it. Host wants to know that why you are a great fit for their audience. Not for them, but therefore for their audience. So here are some really cool tips to help you get the most out of crafting a pitch for a podcast. As I said, this isn't really kind of depending on how the podcast is set up. You might need to go through an application process. You might need to do a video. The guest might, or you might be invited. But the main thing is having this kind of going through these and making sure that you are ready. And these will give you a few good tips of how to do it. So to start off with, you need to personalize every pitch. Now, address the host by name, mention a specific episode or topic you've enjoyed, so which means you would have had to listen to a few shows before. All of this means that it shows to them that you've done your homework. So personalize every pitch by mentioning a few kind of details that only a listener would know. Lead with value. So explain what you bring to the table, how your insights, experience, and stories benefit their audience. Lead with value. Keep it concise. Everybody's busy, and the podcast hosts are busier than most. So get to the point quickly. Highlight your expertise and why you're the ideal guest for their podcast. At the same time as doing that, you need to showcase your credibility. Now, include links to past interviews, articles, all social proof in that demonstrates that you are an authority in your field. Anything that gives them a chance to see you in action, that's what you need to send to them. Once you've done that, they hopefully would have brought into you as a person. So now it's your time to suggest some engaging topics. So offer 3 to 4 potential discussion points that align with their podcast themes and also your experience and insights as well. Make it easy for the host to see why you give value, but also how you fit into the podcast. So offer 2 to 3 discussion points. Highlight your speaking style. If you've, as I said before, if you've got any experience of public speaking, being on a podcast or doing videos, send them to the hosts. That way, the host will get to know you as a speaker, and therefore they're more likely to go yes to you because they know what you're up to and they know how you speak and how you demonstrate your thing. So highlight your speaking style. Mention also any mutual connections you have. So if you are connected with any of their previous guests, let the host know. This is all good networking kind of skills here. Share industry contacts, mention them to build instant credibility. It can't hurt. The main thing is you want to make it easy for them to say yes. So at the same time as doing all of this bit, and remember, this isn't just one interaction. This could be a number of interactions over a course of months. But also at the same time, let them know when you're available. Find out from them what their preferred recording format is, and make sure that you know how to do it and you know how to use those. And also be persistent without being pushy. As I said before, podcast hosts are busy. So therefore, you might need to remind them a couple of times. And then at the end of it, always provide them with a clear call to action. Agree when you get a next meet up or have a chat. Do you know what? They'll appreciate that because at the end of the day, all they want to do is to make sure that they're getting the best value from you as the guest, but also you to give value to their audience. So make it easy for them. So that's loads of tips. Let me just quickly sum up this little bit by saying you need to personalize every pitch. You always need to lead with value. You need to keep it concise. You need to showcase your credibility. Suggest 2 to 3 discussion points. Highlight your speaking style and share that with the hosts. Mention mutual connections. Make it easy for them to say yes. Follow up professionally, and then end with a clear call to action. That is crafting the perfect pitch. As I said before, that might not just be one interaction. That might be a number of different interactions. But if you've got any experience about going onto podcasts that you want to share, please put them in the comments below of how you got onto that podcast and how you pitched yourself to that podcast host. Now, this will help. This will definitely help. The power of preparation, your one-page success plan. I love this tool. And this has helped me so much in the past. It really has. And the way that it's helped me, it's just really simple. It is. I plan a lot. And a great podcast appearance doesn't just happen by chance. It's a result of solid preparation. Well, it is on my part. The more preparation I do, the more qualified and the more comfortable and confident I feel. So having this one-page success plan helps you stay focused, confident, and ready to deliver value. So this is for you. This isn't really to share with anybody else, but this is your way of preparing for a podcast interview. And again, swap podcast for video, swap podcast for interview, for job, whatever it is. But you can all of these apply for this. So first off, you need a generic podcast overview. So write down the show's name, host, audience profile, and format so you can tailor your messaging, which means you would have had to listen to the show before to find all of these details. And remember, this format will be different for every podcast appearance. That's the word, podcast appearance that you have. So create a podcast overview first of all. So write down the name, show name, the host, and all of those details. Then identify 3 to 5 main key ideas that you want to communicate during the conversation. Now, keep them clear, concise. I love bullet points when I'm writing these down, but these will help you focus if you get distracted or go off on a tangent. Also, at the same time, jot down any relevant antidotes, stories that illustrate your key points. We all know that human beings survive thousands of years through stories. So therefore, use stories for every key point. Make sure you have a story that helps and tells that point. Stories make your messages more memorable. So please start including more stories. Also put down about a bit about the host background and style. So as I said before, you would have already had to listen to a few of the previous episodes, and this way you're going to get a good understanding of the host's interview approach, style, topic, speed of questions, and also the types of answers that they normally resonate with. Do they like long formed answers? Do they like short formed answers? Do they like funny answers? Do they like more serious? Do they use serious language? All of these bits you can figure out by listening to a few shows and researching them. Once you've done that, just write it down. Just write it down, a couple of sentences on your one pager, because then you can refer back to it. Now, if you're anything like me, just by me writing this down and maybe reading it before the interview, that will be job done for me. I won't need it again. But some people would refer to this during the interview as well. Also, make sure you have a clear call to action that you have also practiced as well. Make sure you have a clear idea what you want the listeners to do after the episode has aired. And make sure you've practiced that so it just rolls off your tongue. Make sure also, and this is good for a checklist, make sure you've got good internet connection, good microphone, your camera's all clean, and all that kind of stuff, and your recording environment is all ready. So again, you don't have to worry about it. And you've literally got a check sheet, you've got a tick sheet on this one pager, just to mention that. That's probably the thing that's going to stay the same every single time. It is. Pardon me, sorry. Just delete that. Also, please have an episode date and a promo plan. So note when the episode will be released and plan how you will promote it across all the channels. Have a plan for that. And apologies, just missed a call. So if I'm just literally replying to this, I'll be 2 seconds. Sorry. On a webinar. All right. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, checklist, technical plan, and then have a episode date and promo plan. So if you know when it is going to be released, great stuff. You put it down there. If you don't, then don't worry about it. Ask the host and then just jot it down. Also, just have a quick reference and a quick list of quick reference sheet, just in case you need reminders during the episode. Now, the idea is that you don't want it to sound scripted. So just have, as I said before, I prefer bullet points that I can literally just jot down in place. And then also, just before you go live, make sure you are ready. Make sure you take a deep breath. You smile. You pause between your words. And remember, it's just a conversation. That's all you need to do. Your energy, your natural persona will come through during it. So all of this stuff is something that you need to kind of make sure you've got on your one pager. It sounds a lot, but all you're doing is preparing for the episode. And this one page document just helps and gives you a little bit of a format. So just to kind of give you a quick overview of this, you need to make sure that you've got your podcast overview. So yeah, podcast overview is part 1. Make sure you got your key talking points. Make sure you got stories and examples ready for you. You've noted down the host's background and style, the common questions and responses. Your call to action is all ready. Technical checklist is all ready and all ticked off. Yeah, you know when the episode is going to be released and the promo plan for that. Yeah, and you have your backup notes as well. That is the power of the one-page success plan. Now, with this, not a lot of people do it, or not a lot of people give enough time to this. But honestly, folks, this one page has helped me more times than I care to mention. It is. Next up is deliver value and not a sales pitch. Now, I do apologize again. The dog is now whimpering to get up. So say hello to Ted, my little doggy. He's one of 3. Who's not happy he's just been on camera, but tough. Now, I think it's a great honor to be invited onto a podcast. I don't think there's any greater honor. Think about it. You've got a stage where people are coming to listening to you, spending their time listening to you deliver value. That's a great honor. So when you've got that honor, you've got that platform, and you've got that kind of authority seat, the last thing that you want to do is go into sales mode. You want to deliver value and not a sales pitch. So some of these will give you a little bit of an idea of how you can do that, because we all have been there, we've all seen it, and we've all heard it. The person who goes into a sales pitch, the podcast isn't the time for hard sell. It's about focusing on delivering the value. So here are a few tips of how you can avoid turning your podcast appearance into a sales pitch. First off, share knowledge and insights. Focus on offering useful, actionable advice that your audience can apply in their own lives and businesses. These aren't directly related to any products, but focusing on useful, actionable advice that you can start using straight away. Mark these down on your one-pager. You can always tell stories, not sales pitch. So remember, stories aren't really sales pitches, but instead of promoting your products, share relevant personal experiences, stories that illustrate your expertise. Be authentic. Be genuine in your responses and let your personality shine through. You are you. Don't change the way that you speak. Don't change the way you kind of act or the language that you use, unless you really need to, because of the type of audience it is. I would question that you might be on the wrong podcast if you have to do that. But be you. Be you. Just be genuine in your responses. Let your personality shine through. The audience is going to like you if they want to like you. If they don't like you, then that's tough. This doesn't matter at all. No one in the world, in the history of the world, has been universally liked. So be you. Audiences appreciate authenticity over rehearsed sales talk. Now, what you could always do as well is ask questions and engage. So make the conversation two-way by asking thoughtful questions and responding to the host's insights. If you think about a natural conversation is two-way. So why would a podcast interview be any different? Focus on solutions, not products. So talk about challenges in your industry and offer solutions rather than pushing particular products or services. That again is solutions, not products, which are the main thing. At the same time as doing that, highlight features, highlight benefits, even not features. Got it the wrong way around. Highlight benefits, not the features. So if you do mention about your business, focus on how it helps people rather than listing products, features, and services. And that way, again, you can do that through stories and link the two together. Always share value first before going to the punch in terms of the sales. So whether it's through education, entertainment, or inspiration, by doing so, you're naturally going to be attracting the interest of the listener without being too pushy. Please don't deliver around and go for the sale first and then value afterwards. It doesn't work. You can always maintain a subtle call to action. So if you want to mention your business, then offer a subtle call to action like, if you're interested in learning more, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or check out my course. You can always do that. And funny enough, as I said before, right at the start, this is part of a much bigger online course. Guess what? That was my subtle call to action at the start. This is my other subtle call to action in the middle. But you don't have to be pushy about it. You just want to give value and then just mention it here and there. Always avoid over branding. So keep your personal brand present, but avoid overemphasizing it during the product. So don't mention your name all the time. I haven't mentioned Grow Radio at all so far, but it has been on the slides. So therefore, I haven't had to mention it. Don't overbrand too much. Also, then at the end of all this, provide takeaways. So offer concrete takeaways like tips, frameworks that the audience can use right away. So this adds values beyond any promotional message that you could even do. So for me, I'm just going to quickly sum up and then I'll give you 2 quick takeaways that you can do straight away. So share your knowledge and insights. Tell stories, not sales. Be authentic, be you. Ask questions and engage. Focus on solutions, not products. Highlight the benefits, not the features. Got it the right way around that time. Give before you get. Maintain a subtle call to action. Avoid over branding and provide key takeaways. So my kind of sum up of all these, what I want you to do after this section is to start figuring out what your 3 to 5 key messages are and work on your stories on there. And that way you will basically be okay with all of these points that I've just mentioned. Forget the subtle call to action, just have it in the background. But make sure if you've got a couple of questions for each point, you've got a story to tell, you'll be absolutely fine. You will be flying. The second to last point is this art of storytelling. Now, this is one of my favorite topics to kind of talk about because honestly, not many people do it. But storytelling is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to engage your podcast audience. When done right, stories captivate, they inform and make your podcast and your messages memorable. So, here are a few ways to start your storytelling journey and improve your storytelling during your podcast. And any questions, if you've got any questions about any of these that come to you, please put them in the comments and I'll answer them in the Q&A as well. So start with a hook. You want to grab your listeners' attention right from the start. So a compelling opening question or intriguing scenario can pull people in. So start with a story. I've mentioned this a couple of times already today, but start with a story. Also, when you share stories, keep it relatable. So use stories that the audience can actually understand and connect with. Universal themes won't change between different podcasts, like overcoming challenges, growth, moments of discovery or reflection. Those are kind of golden ones. So if you can link a few of those in, great stuff. Do it because it's going to help you and it's going to keep it relatable to the audience as well. Also, don't be afraid to share your own personal experiences, good and bad as well. Sharing personal stories kind of engages the listener with you and they get to know you and form a deeper connection. So it's well worth it, well worth sharing personal stories and anecdotes. You can also set the scene as well. So paint a vivid picture with your words. Now, this isn't something that I'm good at, but describe your setting, emotions, and characters to make your story come to life. So, for instance, if you're telling a story about the time that you met with someone, describe it. Describe the room. Describe what you smelled. Describe what you were drinking and eating. Set the scene fully. You can always use conflict and resolution as a way of kind of telling the story. So every good story normally has a conflict that's resolved in the end. It's a structure that keeps listeners engaged and invested in the outcome. So you could start a story by saying, I had a week and I only had this, and I want to transform myself into this. You hear it all the time. I was 25 grand in debt and living on the street. I got chucked out of my house. Fast forward 6 months and I'm now a millionaire. It's those kind of quote stories. It is. So you've got the conflict at the start, it resolved in the end. You don't need to go that far, but if you've got a story or an antidote, it's well worth, again, mentioning it and using the conflict resolution kind of technique. Now, be concise. Stories are important, but rambling is not. So stick to the key points and ensure the story ties into the messages that you want to deliver and you're trying to convey. When you're conveying a story, show emotion. If it's sad, be sad. If it's happy, be happy. Don't force it because, again, people want to see the authentic you, but use emotion, humor, empathy, inspiration, tap into it, make it more powerful. Emotions are really, really important. Also, make sure that the story aligns with the main points of the podcast discussion. There's no point telling a story if it's not relevant. So make sure that it does align and actually it does link in with your key messages and the podcast themes as well. As I said before, stories are one of the oldest way that we have shared information throughout the years. So use storytelling to teach. Stories just aren't for entertainment. They're a great way to teach lessons and share insights. And at the end of it, finish with a strong conclusion. Wrap up your story with a clear point, a clear takeaway, and just so it all rounds it off. It just finishes it off. It finishes off. That's why I've left this point to last. It finishes this bit off. But you don't want the story to finish on a high, on a kind of a cliffhanger. That's the word, on a cliffhanger. When you can't resolve it, finish it with the ending. So all of these bits you can kind of see fits in with everything else I've just said. But the main points of this section is start with a hook. Keep it relatable and keep it personal. Set the scene. Use a conflict resolution method of storytelling. Be concise. Avoid rambling. Please avoid rambling. Use emotion when you can. Connect the dots and use storytelling to teach. And then finally finish off with a strong conclusion. That is the art of storytelling in a nutshell. Now, I would love to know if you use any stories in your podcast's guest appearances yet so far. If you do, please put them below. If you don't, start thinking about your main points and about those questions and those stories that you can start kind of linking into it. Then the next bit is all how you can spread the word. So sharing your podcast appearance. Because is there any point doing a podcast if you don't share it? I don't think so. I think if you've been a guest on a podcast, you need to share it far and wide. And not just once. I'm talking about quite a few times in a few different places. Make sure you share it far and wide. Because what a shame it would be. You spent your time researching all of this, being on the show, to do nothing with it. You wouldn't want that. So let's break it down into the different places where you can share your podcast experience, appearance even. First off, let's have a look on your website. So on your website, you can share it in a number of different places. You can make a blog telling people about it, some of the key themes, and have the links that the host would have hopefully shared with you on there. And also the graphic that hopefully the host has again shared with you on there. So you can have it on a blog. You can have a page dedicated to your podcast and your media appearances. Again, this makes it easy for potential podcast hosts to find your details and also then to see what how you deliver a podcast and how you deliver an interview. So blog page, podcast page. Also have it on your latest news on your front page. Have it slap bang in the middle just there. And if you have got a podcast player that's built in, have it on there as well. There are just a number of the places that you can have it on your website. Main thing is you can share it on social media as well. So on social media, you can share the graphic, you can share the links. They're quite simple things to do that not many people actually put together, but you should. If you've got a graphic with your face on it, then you should share that for sure. You should also share any clips that you get from the host as well. That kind of gives you there. Any post that you're tagged in, you can share as well. And also at the same time as creating the content by creating the post and then sharing the posts, engage with people on social media as well. Anybody who puts a comment on the host's page about the podcast, say thank you for listening. Respond to them, connect with them. It's not hard to do, but not many people do it. You want to make sure that you are generating as many little conversations as you can with these people. Even if it's just a cheers for listening, what kind of key points did you take away from it? Ask those questions. Also, in the comments, if there's any questions that get asked about the episode to the hosts, you can answer them. Please do engage with your listeners online on social media. Obviously, you can share it in a number of different ways on the different platforms. So on most platforms now, you can share reels. So that'd be a portrait video, little clips that you go from there. You might be able to share audiograms. So these are little kind of pictures. So your podcast cover art with your name and then a little kind of audiogram on top of there. Not so common, but you do still see those occasionally. The main ones are clips. If you get clips from the hosts, share. At the same time as sharing the clips, if a host are okay with you sharing it on your YouTube channel, then put the main episode on your YouTube channel, plus also any clips that you've got as well. Why the hell not? Collaborate where you can. So on Instagram, collaborate with different people. So therefore, your content goes on to their places. Obviously, tag the people in, reply to the comments. It's not rocket science, folks, but you want to share it far and wide. If it's a big podcast appearance, you can always write a press release as well, and send to local papers. Also, share it with anybody who you want to feature on their podcast. So use it as a sales tool to connect with other people. This is literally just the iceberg of how you can use a podcast experience. And I've actually wrote a course about the effective ways you can network and market with podcasts, which will be available later on in the month. So worth checking that out. But honestly, folks, this is a big topic, and I could do just a half-hour topic just on this little bad boy itself as well. So to sum up this bit, do something with a podcast after you finish. That's all I'm going to say with it. If you've done that, do it, and not just once, do it a number of different times. Remember, your audience might miss it the first time, but they might see it the third, fourth, or 10th time. So keep sharing and sharing and sharing. So that is about it, to be fair. I'm just going to quickly recap of the sections. First section was crafting the perfect pitch. Second section was power of presentation, your one-page success plan. Deliver value, not sales pitch. The art of storytelling. Spread the word, sharing your podcast experience, finished it all off. And I just wanted to say thank you for being part of this. Now, if you wanted to find out more about this topic, then here is the link for you to find the full course, which I'm just going to put here, put in the comments. You can find the full course here. Okay, so I'll put a link to the full course there. It's only $44.99, so it's not massively expensive, but I break this down into 30 different sections. So there's a lot of content there. There's a lot of content there that you can find and you can do. And it's all to do with being a standout guest. Ultimately, I want you to be able to deliver your message comfortably and confidently every single time you go on a podcast. It's as simple as that. Now, that's the paid kind of selling bit that I've just done. The freebie that I want to give to you is that I have a LinkedIn newsletter that I update every day. And you are more than welcome to subscribe to it. I would love you to subscribe to it because I give a daily tip every weekday to help your podcasting skills. So I am just grabbing the link to that now. Please, if we're not connected, please sign up for this. It's just pure value all the way. So free LinkedIn newsletter is going in now. But that for me is it. Now, please, if you have any questions, please put them into the comments. Please put them into the comments below, and I will get round to answering them. At the same time as doing that, I'm going to pop onto LinkedIn to see if there is any comments on there as well. So please put them into the comments. Let's have a little look and see if there's any comments. Okay, questions, so there's please. There is. There's a couple of questions on LinkedIn. So let's have a little look. Okay, so I have a couple of questions on here. Okay, so Mary Beth Hazeldine asked us, how will we invigorate our pitches? Okay, so basically what you want to do is, instead of reviewing, I would personally watch an episode back, watch one of your previous podcast experiences, and watch it back. And if you can stomach it, watch it in. And this is something that I can't take credit for, but I would watch it back in 3 different ways. One with the sound on, where you just listen to it, so you're just hearing the audio. With the sound off, so you can just see, one with the sound on, so therefore you can, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happened there. Let me figure it out and I'll get back to you. So in terms of the reviewing the content, listen to it with the sound on, but don't have the visual, so close your eyes or don't watch it, so you can just hear the audio. Turn the audio off and just watch the sounds. Just watch it so you can see your body language. Are you moving around too much? Are you communicating enough verbally with your hands and all that kind of stuff? And then watch it back to all together. Because that way you'll be able to actually see what you're like, just audio, no sound, and both together. That's a really good way of kind of reviewing how and what your presence is like on camera. In terms of your messaging, have a plan. Have a plan what messages you're going to share and what messages that you want them to kind of go away with. That way, you're definitely going to be onto a winner. That's how I would reinvigorate it, just by doing those two bits. Right, if you've got any questions, please put them into the comments. I don't know why I can't. Let's do that. Let's go that, and let's do that. Okay, this is officially from LinkedIn. So if it doesn't, so that should now work. Which looks like the same one, but I don't know. Let's see if that works. So thank you, Olga, for letting me know that it doesn't work, but please, yeah, give it a go. Give it a go. Give it a go. The course also features different tips on how to get on podcasts, preparing your scene, making sure that you're comfortable with your key messages, loads of stuff about sharing. We do talk, there's a whole section about marketing as well. So all of this bits are good and kind of gives you an idea. Please, if you've got any more questions, please put them into the comments below. I do realize that on StreamYard, which I'm using, I can't see the LinkedIn comments. So I am just popping onto LinkedIn, so you can see I'm on LinkedIn now. You can see my beautiful face with that. And yeah, that's all good. So if you've got any questions, please let me know. If not, I'm just going to give it a few more minutes and then I'm going to make a move. I can see people are watching. So please, if you do have any questions, let me know. The next webinar for everybody who's looking to get involved with it is we have, well, actually, before I go on to that, I do a free webinar every month, and it's all about different topics. Mostly, well, yeah, there's a few repeats throughout the year, but 9 times out of 10, it's all about different topics. The next one is going to be on the 11th of June. So that's Wednesday, 11th of June, again at 12 p.m. BST. And this is all about how to network, the secret to effective network marketing and networking. Now, this is a new course that I am launching at the end of the month. And I'm just going to put the link to the next event just there. That's the LinkedIn. That's the LinkedIn thing just there. Yeah. And during this, we're going to be talking about how to network and how to really kind of get the most out of it. So what we want to do is we're going to be talking about the strategies that power up the new course that we're launching. And the new course launches at the end of March. We're going to be looking at 5 different sections again. And it's all going to be based on how to market it. Shall I give you the sections? I'm not sure if I will, because I haven't decided what they are just yet. But you can join us for those when you can. But that would be fantastic. I haven't got any more questions. I know people are watching because I've got a little counter there that says people are watching. But if you've got any more questions, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, please fire me a message through there. And please check out my newsletter. And if you do want to join the course, The link is in the comments. It's only $44.99. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye. Have a good